Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Grabe! Pinag-usapan lang natin ito a few days ago. Pero ngayon, talagang nagpa-press conference po ang Conservative Party, members of the Conservative Party, at ang kanilang mensahe, abolish, tapusin na, permanently scrap ang gusto po nila sa Temporary Foreign Workers Program. So, tignan natin, ano kaya mangyayari? No, they are calling for this. Will it actually happen? Ano ba talaga? Will Canadian workers really benefit from the scrapping of this program? Yan ang ating pag-uusapan. Muli, kasama ang ating suking immigration lawyer who we were again just talking about this topic with a few days ago, no? Parang nauna tayo dito sa discussion na to. Lou, welcome. Hold on. Let me put Lou's email down there. Lou, tingnan mo, we were just talking about this. And then this press conference happens. Were you surprised that they came out with this?
Feeling ko mas hindi ka na-surprise kaysa sa akin. Kasi nga, mas sinusundan yung kanilang postings and socials. And me, straight out of long weekend, Labor Day weekend nga na parang medyo nag-social media detox, hindi ko nasundan yung mga pangyayari. So nung in-update mo ko, parang, okay, that totally tracks, unfortunately. Nalungkot ako.
Oo, nalungkot ka. Ba't ka nalungkot ngayon na dito? This morning lang to guys, nagpa-press conference. Sige. Ba't ka nalungkot?
Well, nalungkot ako kasi, ano ba to? Instead of having conversations na constructive pagdating sa immigration, papunta tayo sa diskusyon ng abolish kagad na kitang-kita sa mga studies, sa mga pagsaliksik ng iba-ibang ahensya na non-political and even the political ones, sinasabi na scrapping or abolishing is not exactly a good idea either. Kasi nga yung ating labor market in Canada is truly dependent, especially in certain sectors, on temporary foreign workers na merong tinatawag na structural and chronic shortages in certain sectors like agriculture for foreign workers na kahit na itaas mo pa ng gaano kataas ang sahod, kahit sabihin natin $35 per hour yan or $50 per hour, may hirapan ka pa rin na i-convince ang mga nakatira sa Etobicoke na lumipat nga ng, let's say, ng, malapit sa Windsor, di ba? Maraming mga greenhouses dyan, di ba? Na mga agricultural producers, di ba? So, hindi basta-basta kasing nafe-fill or napufulfill ng Canadian population yung ganito. Maski sa ang bansa ka pumunta. Punta ka sa, alimbawa, tingnan natin sa agriculture-intensive jurisdictions like California. Alam naman natin na very widely reported na actually sa kanila, it's even worse. Puro mga undocumented pati yung mga nagtatrabaho sa ganitong sektor. Ganun na rin sa bansa, kagaya ng nasa Europa, like Spain or Portugal. Ganun din, very agriculture-intensive itong mga sectors, mga countries na ito. And, even if they raise the pay, may pa rin ito, meron pa rin structural problems in filling these positions. Is it impossible? No. But is it going to be a chronic problem? Kasi, yes, kasi nga, even with the TFWs, ito yung kicker dito, Ina, final point on agriculture, even with the TFW, meron pa rin shortage ng workers for agricultural sector. So imagine kung tatanggalin natin yung SAWP under the TFW program. Paano na? Sino mag-harvest ng mga agricultural products? Di lalong tumaas yung presyo ng mga bilihin sa grocery, di ba? So parang ang sakit lalo. Kaya parang yung approach ng pag-abolish, inahambing ko to sa, ano ba yung gabi, tapos inis na inis ka kasi may lamok na lumilipad sa kwarto, tapos yun yung maingay, gusto mong patayin, di ba? Tapos instead na ginamit mo yung pampatay ng lamok, let's say, ganun, di ba? Or halimbawa, meron ka fly swatter, ginamit mo martilyo. Tapos yung kwarto mo punong-puno ng glass, sabihin natin. Di lahat nabasag, di ba? Mali ata yung may mismatch in terms of the rhetoric. So, medyo papunta lang tayo sa rhetoric na rile up ng base. So, doon na pupunta, nakikita, very transparent in my view yung kanilang objective dito is political rather than serious policy input.
Okay. So, sige, before I ask my next question, Lou, play pala natin, yung video. This is just a minute soundbite ni conservative leader Pierre Poilievre from the press conference today. No, ito yan.
Of action. To stop the time has come for decisive action. To stop the Liberals from using our immigration system to pad the pockets of corporate elites and other insiders at the expense of Canadian jobs. Again, the principle is very simple. The principle is very simple. Canadian jobs for Canadian workers. Canada first, Canada always. That's why Conservatives are calling on the Carney government to permanently scrap the temporary foreign worker program and to stop issuing visas for any new temporary foreign workers coming into the country. Under this proposal, existing permits would be wound down until the program is entirely eliminated. Canadian jobs will go to Canadian workers first. It's time that Mr. Carney took the job seriously of repairing the damage that his party has.
Yan. I told Lou actually na hindi na ako na-sorpresa dito. Bakit? Kasi over the past week, guys, parang I sense na yung social media accounts of, members of the Conservative Party have been coming out with posts na talagang tinitira itong mga Lamia, job postings, offering Lamia jobs. So parang I felt like it was building up to something bigger. I will show you one example, no, at pinakita ko rin to kay Lou kanina. One of the social media posts of conservative MP rather, Michelle Rempel. Ito po, no? Let me show you this one. Ganito yung para pinapakalat nila ngayon on X especially, no? They are collecting mga job postings. For example, this one. Ayan, tingnan nyo. Nakasulat po dun sa upper left, no? May pending Lamia. As offering a salary of $36 to $37 per hour. Ang hinahanap po, bakery supervisor in cheese boutique. By the way, coincidentally, alam mo, nagkita kami ni Lou, diyan kami nagkumain sa cheese boutique. Okay? Tapos, if you read the caption of Miss Garner on the right, then nakasulat dito, this site shows all the jobs that will be available to TFWs. Anyone in Toronto want this job before a TFW gets it? And other similar posts, Luno, kumbaga ang pinapalabas nila, ang ini-imply, seryoso ba kayo? These jobs offering, 30 plus per hour na salary, wala talagang papatol na Canadian o local na nandito na sa Canada? What do you think about those posts that they, were sharing, I think, over the past 2 weeks?
Okay. Well, siguro gusto ko munang i-preface yung discussion with the disclaimer na actually in my legal practice as an immigration lawyer, I don't actually do a lot of work with the TFW program. We hardly do LMIAs. I mostly work in the International Mobility Unit, Workers Unit, essentially yung mga LMIA exempt. So, sa mga mauuna dyan na nag-accuse ng mga lawyers na, huy, teka, kayo yung mga nakikinabang kapag mas maraming LMIA. Hindi po ako yun. Sana po madami ako nun kasi assembly line yun. Totoo, malakas talaga kumita dito sa area na to. Pero hindi po ito yung karamihan ng trabaho ko. In fact, I haven't done an LMIA in a long time. Now, in regard to that, it's interesting kasi Ina, you and I had a side discussion before off camera na yung job bank parang moro-moro, 'di ba? Parang zarsuela na performative siya na, in other words, yung employer, they will post there kasi like requirement siya. Tapos kunwari naghahanap, na yun naman talaga yung biggest weakness talaga ng LMIA system, basically. Pero ito din ay isang last defense na merong pro forma at least na attempts ang Canadian employer na maghanap locally kasi ipinopost nga doon. Kudos to Madam Rempel Garner for actually pointing out that job bank work exists. Siguro mas malaking kudos kung noon pa niya sinasabi to sa mga Canadians that job bank exists. Kasi matagal na rin itong nirereklamo ng mga advocates who are in the know in the industry na meron talagang fundamental baseline problem ang job bank. In a sense na nagiging pro forma, place to post ang job bank for employers, at ang mga Canadians very, very seldom that they would engage with job bank. In other words, if you go to the labor market force and you ask any Canadian on the street, kapag tinanong mo sila, anong mga websites ang hahanapin or gagamitin nila to look for a job? Karamihan sa kanila gagamitin Indeed, Monster, or LinkedIn, di ba? Mga ganon, mga traditional sites, not job bank. Walang bihira ang magsasabi sa inyo sa job bank sila noong una. So talagang nun pa, may problema pa. Sinasabi na sa kanila, ang punto ko dito is babalik dun sa punto ko kanina na bakit ngayon ka lang na nagrereklamo about job bank and noon pa namin sinisigaw ito. Tapos ngayon dinadagdagan nyo ng kulay ng politika. Na sana mas constructive sana yung conversation.
Yeah, oo. By the way, for those who might be unfamiliar with how it works, bago po kasi bigyan ng LAMIA, o basically authority, ang isang employer here to hire a foreign worker, they are required to post yung job vacancy dyan po sa sinasabi ni Luna Job Bank. Okay, like it's an online portal for job seekers. Yun nga lang, kumbaga, ginagawa na lang yun out of compliance. It is a problem dito sa TFW program. Parang hindi naman effective. Sabi nga nila, hindi naman doon naghahanap ng trabaho yung mga locals. So many times, it's been criticized na pinopost lang yan out of compliance pero wala talaga silang intensyong mag-hire. Parang gano'n,
Right.
Okay, so Lou is obviously, ang pinupush ay reform. Hindi po natin sinasabi dito na maganda yung TFW program 100%. There are a lot of problems. But yeah, Lou in previous episodes has been pushing for proper enforcement instead. Why do you think is the conservative not giving reforms to that effect a chance? Parang kumbaga extreme, talagang scrap permanently. O baka naman, Lou, do you think that after, kung sakali mang matuloy, mawala, baka naman merong susulpot ng isa, a different version of the TFW program na mas maganda. Would you also be amenable to that?
Also, all very good points and very good questions actually. So, siguro maganda i-contextualize na natin siya sa history at sa kung ano yung sinabi talaga today. Well, today sinabi nila they want to phase out the TFW program completely. Gusto daw nilang gumawa ng targeted replacement for the agricultural labor. Ang basis kasi dyan, Ina, is that alam naman natin, no big secret, na ang isa sa pinakamalaking sectoral impact ng TFW program ay nasa agricultural stream talaga. And meron talagang structural deficit ng workers in that particular area. So ang goal nila is to create a new program from the ground up. Not totally against that. Pero kung pupuntahan mo kasi yung mga reports, na partisan, non-partisan, titignan mo yung mga academic work, mga research dito sa Parliament of Canada, both at the Senate and at the House of Commons, pare-pareho sila ng recommendations, Ina. Pati Auditor General of Canada, yun din ang recommendation, reform, and looking at wage suppression, and looking at enforcement. So ito naman talaga yung dati nating tinatawag pa, diba? Yung enforcement masampulan. Kasi yung mga inhumane conditions, madalas nag-i-encourage na magkaroon palalo ng mga abuso. Kasama na rin dyan ng mga fake LMIA. Now, in the context of having high unemployment, mas lalo pa sanang mas magandang. Ito yung perfect moment for that, for the enforcement arm to come in, di ba? Actually, this reminds me, dito na yung sa history part, di ba? This reminds me nung time ng conservative government at the federal level, essentially. Some of the critical reforms that they did to ERPA or the act, pati dun sa regulations, tinighten nila yung administrative penalties for violators of LMIA. So alam nila na talagang meron talagang gap sa enforcement kasi nakita nila na walang ipin. Diba? Ngayon na nilagyan nila ng ipin, ang question, may follow-through ba? May mga nasampulan ba? Meron tayong blacklist ng mga na-enforce na mga penalties, for example, on IRCC's website. Siguro, time to revisit din ito. Ano yung mga gaps dito? Time for more studies for that na makita talaga yung targeted approach dito. Ano yung mas magandang approach instead of just pure abolition? Kasi kung magko-construct ka ng bago, tama ka may usbong na bago. And hindi naman na ibig sabihin na bago, walang problema. Magkakaroon din tayo ng parehong problema.
Yeah. Okay. Eto, I've heard this sentiment from the Filipinos or some who have been here a long time, no? Sabi nila, noon naman, ano lang eh, puro mga, kumbaga, what is express entry now? Bakit ba kailangan may
Mm.
TFW program? Bakit hindi na lang yung noon na
Yeah.
talagang landed immigrant na agad, ganito, ganyan, mas strict
Oh.
yung qualifications, etc. Yeah, what do you say to that? Bakit palagay mo kailangan nitong separate program?
Alam mo, napakagandang question yan. Unfortunately, I don't have a straightforward answer for you, but I have some statistics to share. Unfortunately, I do not have the graph. Kasi this was in 2020 or 21 ata. A friend of mine and myself, we were invited by staffers at the US Congress to do a presentation to advocates, including members of the US Congress, on how the Canadian program works. One of the things that I found out na interesting is 2015, biglang nag-jump steadily yung the dependence ng Canada to foreign workers, both sa TFW program and sa International Mobility Workers Unit, meaning yung mga LMIA exempt, like open work permit holders. Ano ba nangyari noong 2015, Ina? Well, the express entry system was actually launched. Diba? And babalikan din natin, bakit pa in-introduce si express entry? Kasi, bandang 2010 to 2013, yung wait time for the federal skilled worker application for permanent residence, na noon ay direct entry application siya. Hindi mo kailangan pumasok sa express entry. Basta ma-meet mo lang yung baseline requirements ng FSW, mag-a-apply ka. Ang question, gaano katagal ang processing? Dahil sobrang backlog noon, inaabot na sila ng 7 years for a typical applicant from outside Canada to process. And in 7 years, obviously, a lot of people have moved on. They have families, they have businesses, they have careers. So, marami sa kanila, hindi na fulfill. So, ang daming slots for permanent residents na hindi na-fulfill. Ngayon, nung in-introduce sila to, naging popular ng bonggang-bongga ang express entry. But at the same time, nagkaroon ng traffic. Dahil yun nga, na-control yung number ng pumapasok sa Canada by way of permanent residence immigration at that time. Nagkaroon din ng boom in the temporary foreign worker program dahil tumaas din yung reliance. Alam mo kung bakit? Kasi express entry focused a lot on high human capital factors, meaning highly educated, mga sobrang madaming diploma, maraming experience, not necessarily would work in certain sectors na sobrang chronic yung demand and structural yung demand for temporary foreign workers. So in other words, yun eh, di ba? May disconnect to express entry with the needs.
I get it now, no? And actually, a common concern of those entering through express entry is yung parang, syempre pag-uusapan na rin, I have to start from, the survival jobs before I get to the kind of job that I have. So, ito pala yung naging sagot doon, yung TFW, no. You're coming here knowing that that is going to be your job. Right?
That's it. That's right.
Yung low-skilled workers. Okay, so I get that now.
I
Ngayon,
will postscript
sabi mo,
that
no?
postscript ka lang ng mabilis lang, promise. Na-invite din kami dati sa Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association, tas yours truly was sent as the representative. So nag-testify ako sa Senate before in front of senators sa Ottawa in person. And one of the things that SOCI was trying to figure out is anong gagawin sa mga temporary foreign workers. Yun nga yung pinag-usapan namin doon. We had a frank conversation about, yes, we have the good bare bones of a good immigration system nga that prioritizes high human capital factors. Pero yung na-realize nating strategic weakness ng Canada is meron din tayong need for people in certain sectors like the agricultural sectors. Paano to magiging permanent? Frankly, I don't have the answer to that. And I don't think bibigyan na lang sila automatic permanent residence would be a quick solution to that as well. It's a complicated subject. It's a complicated problem. Kaya wary din lang ako sa final point with simplistic solutions such as abolition.
Yeah, okay. Ito na lang, nabanggit mo kanina, no? There are some, I guess, sectors or employers category na naging overly reliant on this. I will give it agriculture talagang clear, no? Ako parang I have no question na kailangan talaga ng foreign workers diyan lagi at hanggang ngayon nga tulad ng nasabi mo, malaki pa rin ang kakulangan kahit existing na tong PFW program. But what about Lamiyas being given for jobs sa food service? Because I think, sa observation ko, yan ang pinaka kinaiinis nung mga kino-complain rather nung mga nandito. Pati ba naman yung mga nagtatrabaho sa mga fast food chains? Ay, hindi ko na babanggitin kung ano, alam nyo na yan. Lahat ba yan kailangan i-outsource? Is that a reform? Do you want reform in that regard too? Or do you believe na talagang walang nag-a-apply sa mga food service jobs na yan?
Fair. Yeah, and it goes back to Michelle Rempel Garner's post on X.
Post niya kanina.
Nakalagay doon na parang sino bang gusto diyang mag-apply, mga kaibigan. Very guts-based, di ba, yung kanyang declaration there. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I have training in social science, and someone who's going to have, policy responsibilities should probably rely on more scientific methods, I would say. Ang problem kasi is that at least statistics from 2019 say that only 0.7% of the workers in the accommodation and food service sector in Canada actually relied on the TFW program. Again, 0.7% in 2019 were TFWs in the accommodation and food sector. I don't have the current statistics right now. Obviously, that's bigger now because yung number and proportion of TFWs ngayon, mas madami talaga. Pero I wouldn't imagine that 50% of accommodation and food service workers actually are TFWs, right? Unless you're probably in a town na kulang sila sa human resources. But that is precisely the point of the TFW program. But what if you're in a town of, let's say, 3,000 people in the middle of rural Alberta, tas lahat working in farming communities, mga old established na settlers na talaga doon, di ba? Tapos yung iba, mga nagwo-work in their own jobs, like in prospecting or nagwo-work sa oil fields, for example. Tapos may mga opening ka sa mga bagong cafe doon, Tim Hortons sabihin natin, para i-service yung community. Walang nag-a-apply. Kaya nakikita natin, overrepresented yung mga food service sectors doon sa mga maliliit na stores na iyon. Dahil wala nga talagang local na nag-a-apply. Second point is yung sabi nila, paano youth unemployment? Totoo nga naman sa talaga. Diba? Karamihan ng mga nasa high school or pag summer, diba, they start working in these service sector jobs to make money para for school, or those who are in university or college, ganun din ang ginagawa nila, diba? The break, trabaho sila. Or even during school, nagpa-part-time sila. That's fine. Pero ito nga yung sinabi mo kanina, diba? You hinted on it. It's a survival starter job for a lot of people. And later on in life, they will move on. Naalala ko nung nagtatrabaho ako sa pub sa downtown Toronto noon. Yung mga kasabayan ko noon, mga either mga immigrants or mga, how shall I say this, mga university students. A lot of them have moved on with their lives. Yung isa, the writer-director sa CBC. Yung isa, naging gym owner. Alam mo, nagkaroon ng mga kanya-kanya ng career. Hindi ka naman forever nandun, di ba? Parang ganun yung mentality. So it does address youth unemployment. Yes, meron talaga structural problem dun. And I guess yun nga rin, babalik tayo sa punto na solution ba dun i-abolish ang TFW? Ibig ba sabihin nito yung mga youth biglang suddenly pag gising mo sa umaga bukas meron na sa trabaho sa Tim Hortons? Hindi, di ba?
Oo. All right. Last na lang to, Lou, last question ko na. You mentioned earlier, you think, itong messaging ngayon ng conservatives, itong call nila for the abolition of the TFW program is more in line with politics. May political agenda towards this. Do you think this will help them in the next, coming elections? I know, kakatapos lang, pero what are you saying that they are using this messaging to boost their popularity?
Controversial one. And I think I'm gonna step on some toes. Siguro, pangunahan ko na sabihin na mag-accuse sa akin na liberal or whatever. You should look at the trail of dead bodies that I left when I criticized the former government of Justin Trudeau. I managed to bring up an issue that got him cornered during question period at the House of Commons. I supported opposition parties, Conservative, NDP, Bloc, in putting questions to the Liberal government at the time on how problematic the international student program is. Please do your research before you accuse me of being a liberal here. With that being said, yun nga, napakagandang question. Siguro tignan din natin yung konteksto. Ano ba yung nangyari at mangyayari? Ang nangyari, una, natalo ang Conservative sa general elections nung tinawag ito nung spring of this year.
Yeah.
So, everyone expected a conservative government. I expected a conservative government at that time. Pero biglang may mga externalities na nag-result into another liberal minority government, right? So, okay, nagulat. Pero kung pakikinggan mo yung political circuit in Canada, yung mga talking heads on TV, nanganganib supposedly si Pierre Poilievre as leader of the Conservative Party. Because with 25 points lead sa polling nun, paano hindi siya nanalo? And polling has shown, and studies have shown through focus group discussions ng mga polling firms out there, na a lot of Canadians do not connect with Pierre Poilievre because he tends to be quite scary and likable to the general Canadian, diba? Pero malakas yung support niya from his base. Sino ba yung base niya? So ito yung mga nasa extreme end, unfortunately, ng conservative tent. Kasi the Conservative Party that I've been used to under Stephen Harper, they had a very disciplined tent na they brought together a coalition of moderate conservatives, mga blue liberals, and fiscal conservatives, mga social conservatives, and even the one in the further right of the side of the spectrum nga. So they were able to put that together. Very disciplined sila ng time ni Harper. And Poilievre is kind of like seen as someone who can bring that together. Pero yun nga, yung base niya is nasa right of that particular spectrum. At least yung pagkakaintindi ko dun sa mga studies. And as a final point to this, may mangyayari sa January. Merong leadership review ang Conservative Party. And there are talks, like I think he's going to survive as Conservative leader, if you're asking me, according to the numbers and according to the analysts naman, yun din naman yung prediction nila. Pero meron pa ring malakas na na clamor na talagang dapat merong proper leadership review. Kasi paano mo maitatalo yung 25 points lead? Tapos bakit hindi ka naging prime minister at the end of the day? Bakit ang pangit ng numbers mo as leader of a party na dapat in the moment nanalo kayo? Mga fair questions. And I'm not saying that, that Pierre Poilievre shouldn't, but I think they're using an issue that is very popular with the base to basically like really stand up, get off their chairs, and really march towards the podium to support the guy who might potentially, but very unlikely, could lose his job. Diba?
Yeah.
So, yun yung aking political analysis. So, medyo labas sa immigration, pero ito yung context na pinanggagalingan niya.
But I love it, no? You're still very, aware of what's going on din sa mundo ng politika. Kasi alam mo, marami tayong viewers din, interesado dyan sa political angle na yan. Very, very last, Lou, mabilis na lang to. Nakalimutan ko, I should have asked this earlier. Pero kapag may ganitong panawagan na, nagpa-press ko ng conservatives, ganyan, they want permanently suspended, permanently scrapped rather, itong DFW program. How real is it? I mean, yung possibility of it happening kapag ganyan ba? Since liberal lang nakaupo, hahayaan na lang, sige, dahil may panawagan ganyan. May prosesa ba dyan? Or is it like, alam mo naman sa Pilipinas, kung sino ang nakaupo, kahit may panawagan yung opposition, hindi mangyayari yan dahil hindi sila yung nakaupo. I mean, is it also like that here in Canada? Yeah, what do you expect coming off from this press con?
Well, first of all, you need the bureaucracy to actually create an alternative to the TFW. Una sa lahat. I mean, this is why it comes down to me as histrionics and basically like politically angled talaga siya. Kasi nga hindi naman talaga realistic ang pag-abolish ng TFW program.
Okay.
Most countries in the developed world have their own TFW programs. Pangalawang punto is, pwede ba siya mangyari in Canada? In a world where we have a majority out of the conservative, yes, they can abolish it. Ang tanong, anong ipapalit nila? Aber, napakahirap. Diba? Kailangan yan years of study para ma-ensure na ganito. Babalik din tayo sa ganun, sa hiring. Diba? na kailangan unahin yung Canada. Para pa nga yung LMIA system, di ba?
Yeah.
If you have a system that has good bones, and yes, I know a lot of us don't like the LMIA system, yours included, ang dami kong criticisms dyan. Pero ito yung sistema na nakaset up na. Kung in-improve mo to, mas madali kesa yung mag-build up ka from scratch na ganun din naman yung kalalabasan.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Lou, thank you so much. I know magiging busy si Lou sa araw na ito dahil sa ibang mga mag-request ng interviews with them about the same topic. I can just imagine. But thank you so much for giving us your time this morning. Maraming salamat.
You're
We'll
welcome.
end this episode here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Lou, ang kanyang email, yung gumagapag dyan sa baba if you wanna contact him. Okay, bye guys!